Welcome to Introducing Integrated Claims with Claim.MD. We're super excited to have you all here today. Just before we get into the demo, I want to do a little round of introductions. Hello, I'm Michelle. I'm a product marketing manager here at Jane. So it is my great pleasure to get to introduce all of you fine folks to lots of different features like integrated claims.
And I'm John. I am on Jane's product team focused on building our insurance features. And today I'll be walking you through our integration with Claim.MD on the Jane side.
Hi, I'm Cola Green. I'm with the sales team at Claim.MD. Happy to show you Claim.MD as we're going through this presentation.
Great. All right. So what is integrated claims? As I'm sure most of you know by now, integrated claims is our new feature where you can connect your Claim.MD clearinghouse account to Jane so that you can submit claims, view acknowledgements, and manage rejections, and automatically receive ERAs all within your Jane account. So today's agenda, we're going to kick it off with Cola doing a quick tour of Claim.MD. So she'll take us through the interface, tell us a little bit about onboarding and enrollment. And then we're going to toss it over to John to do a full end-to-end demo of integrated claims in Jane. I'm going to come back to chat a little bit about our beta users experience and some of the feedback that they had for us. And then John will take us through a very quick little trip down the road ahead for some of our billing features in Jane. So without further ado, I'll hand it over to Cola.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get my screen shared. I could. Great. All right, Claim.MD is a cloud-based service. Everyone can see my screen okay, correct? Awesome. And the great thing is if you're used to uploading your claims or having to enter them manually, with this integration, you'll be able to make this connection automatically and do your billing out of Jane. You'll be able to receive those rejection responses into Jane. You'll get claim status responses, acknowledgement, also your remittance advice. This is your dashboard. Should you log into Claim.MD, there's going to be information here for you to look at. While I'm on the screen, I'll just briefly get into one of the features that you may want to come out to Claim.MD for. I'm going to search for a patient. We do allow you to search for patients just by entering some criteria. In this case, I'm entering just the last name. I'm going to choose that patient claim. And if I wanted to do an appeal here, I could choose that action by going up to the Other Actions menu, manage that appeal. And then at this point, I could upload documentation. With Medicare specifically, you can upload documentation and send that information over electronically. So here with all MAC regions, we'll have the form that MAC region requires for appeal. You'll just enter a little bit of information, put the reason for your appeal. I'm just entering numbers here for the sake of getting through it. We'll give you a copy of the HCFA form. And if there's an ERA or any uploaded and supporting documentation, we'll have that here for you as well. You can hit continue. And like I said, with Medicare, you can send that over electronically. Very handy feature, and it stays with your claim. So once this processes, it'll be a part of the history of your claim. And this is something that you can go out to Claim.MD to do. Otherwise, you will be doing your billing, your responses, remittance advice, rejections, all of those things in Jane. We do keep your ERAs on file for about 10 years. You can come out here and take a look at the PDF version should you need to. We do keep them here for you. We give you a traditional Medicare format. We don't remove any of the remark reason codes or their definitions. So that's something else you can find with your Claim.MD login. You can also turn these into CSV files, locate singular patients, lots of different actions here. We do offer reporting, different types of reporting that you can also turn into an XLS or a CSV. They're nice to have. And just to give you an example, when you open a report, give you this pretty pie chart here. It's broken down in this case, and this report is bill charges by payer. If I wanted to look at a specific payer, I would just click in that area. And again, I can turn this into a CSV format. So from here, you can manage these claims however you see fit. All right. Now the eligibility feature is, we have not integrated this piece. You can log into Claim.MD. You can choose your provider. choose your payer, choose the type of coverage that you're looking for. In this case, I'm defaulted to chiropractic. I would enter my patient name, and I need either the date of birth or the policy number. Once this is entered, I'm going to get this little pop-up. It's going to break out the patient demographics, their plan start and stop dates. And then I have jumped to the chiropractic category, so it took me right there. And I'm going to get information on my calendar visits for the patient, how many remaining copays, co-insurance, deductibles for both in and out of network, family, and individual. So one of the biggest headaches I hear about is provider enrollment. With Claim.MD, provider enrollment is very, very simple. We're going to walk you through this process with a guide. I'll show you that guide here in a second. But it's very straightforward. You'll open provider enrollment, choose the provider you need to enroll, and you'll just go down the line. So in this case, we're looking at what is the most common in my region. So when you enter your information, upload your taxonomy, put in your address, we're going to default you here on this page to the most common payers in your area. I am defaulted to Texas, and I'm going to give Medicare Part B in Texas an example, as the example right now. So to submit claims, receive ERAs, and check eligibility, I'm going to follow these enrollment requirements by just selecting that button, enrollment required. So with Medicare, we typically have forms. Not all regions do. The West usually has you log into a payer, the website, same with the North, Great Lakes areas. So in this region, we have a form. We're going to just follow along with what's required, in this case, a PTN. Scroll down, and you can read through this as you're doing your enrollment. It's typical Medicare verbiage. You're just going to sign this form, and you're going to submit it. It does say to allow 10 business days for processing. It varies. It could take up to 10 business days. It depends on the region you're in. You may also choose to email this form to your provider if you're not authorized to sign on their behalf. We then just submit that document right from the system, and your request is done. So now this took care of claims and ERAs for Texas Medicare Part B. For eligibility, it's just a quick enroll. Click of a button there, click of a button there, done. It does say to wait 24 hours for completion here. So when you sign up with Claim.MD and you indicate Jane as your vendor, we're going to take you to this quick start guide. Immediately, we're going to tell you that if you need additional assistance, reach out to our support team. Our support team is live. We are in the States, and we're here to help you. So if this user guide just isn't working for you, reach out to our team. We'll be happy to give you some one-on-one training. But here you're going to have a step-by-step video tutorials going over both Jane and Claim.MD and how we work together. Very straightforward. And then immediately when you sign up, the very first thing you're going to do, we'll take you through this process in the guide as well. Let's go here though. In your settings, you're just going to activate the SFTP. I believe John is going to go over this a little bit as well. But again, very straightforward, step by step. If you need assistance, please reach out to us. We're here to help. And then lastly, pricing. Claim.MD does not do contracts. We're a month-to-month subscription service, and right now we're giving you our services 10% off for all Jane customers. We offer 3 plans, and I'll just go through them pretty quickly here. The basic plan, you're going to pay $22.50 per month as the subscription, and then in this plan, you're going to spend $100 on the setup fee, and it's 30 cents a transaction. So that's 30 cents in each of our categories: claims, remittance advice, and eligibility. There is no per provider fee with any of our plans, and you can have up to 99 users at no additional charge. The small volume plan is $45 a month, got a one-time setup fee of $50. You get 100 claims included, 100 remittance requests, 100 eligibility transactions. Anything over that is 50 cents. And again, no per provider fee. So as many NPIs per group as needed. And the unlimited plan is $90 a month, no setup fee, unlimited claims, unlimited remittance advice request, 1,000 eligibility checks. Anything over 1,000 eligibility checks is 2 or 10 cents, depending on the insurance. This is a hyperlink you can click on. The majority of your primary payers are under this 2-cent category. And again, no per provider fee. If you have an additional tax ID for this plan, so this includes one tax ID, each additional tax ID is $25. All right, I'm going to pass it over to John. Any questions? I'm here to help.
There were a couple questions there, Cola. Maybe you can answer some of them live. So we had one in the chat, but this was a good one to cover. So can claim appeals be done for other payers, or is it just Medicare through Claim.MD?
Absolutely. Claim appeals can be done for all payers. Now, whether or not you can send them electronically, that's going to vary by payer. So some payers will accept an electronic version, others will not. And the way that works is you could then just opt to have us mail or fax it for you. We do charge $1 for the first 5 pages and 20 cents after that. Or you can just simply download and send that over via fax or however you want to do in your office for free. And I can give you an example of that just real quick. I'm going to use Humana as an example. Humana does not have their own form. We actually provide you a cover sheet for this appeal, but we'll give you an idea of what that looks like.
Cool. I think you'll just need to share your screen one more time.
Oh, sorry about that. Thank you.
No worries.
All right. So here's our appeal request for Humana. Humana does not have a form. We're giving you this cover letter. Here you can type in freely while you're appealing the claim. And again, you're going to get the same documentation, the HCFA form. If there is an EOB, you're going to see that there. And in this case, there's no EOB. We'll just hit continue. And you'll see these options. It can be mailed or it can be faxed. This is a charge, the $1 for the first 5 pages, 20 cents for each additional page, or download it yourself. I'm going to choose a manual download. And then I can go take this. If I look at my history section here, I can go grab that appeal. By the way, all appeals stay with every claim. You can always go back and look at that packet. And here you can choose to print back, save the PDF, whatever you choose. There's no charge here. All right, looks like I have some questions in the Q&A. I'm going to go ahead and just address real quick. Can you do authorizations, or do you still need to go through individual sites? Unfortunately, you cannot do authorizations right now with Claim.MD. You will need to go to the payer directly. And then the next question, I've noticed that for some payers on claims, what Claim.MD website, it shows premium. Does that mean that the unlimited plan needs to be subscribed to? So each of our price plans are subscription services. Now, premium, I'm not sure. I haven't actually seen that. If you're talking about eligibility, we have a prime versus non-prime here, 2 or 10 cents. Otherwise, you're looking at $90 a month. It's a subscription service. You can cancel at any time. We don't do contracts. I hope that answers your question. If you need more clarity, please feel free to jump in there. Can we find the breakdown of your programs you just presented somewhere, or do you have to email it to us? I believe the Jane team is going to provide a link for everybody to see this webinar.
Exactly. Yep. Okay. There's one more for you, Cola, in the chat. Sure. Is eligibility, does that happen in real time when you make a check through Claim.MD?
Yes, absolutely. That is real-time eligibility.
Perfect. And we have, maybe we can just, this could be the last question, but would you mind just clarifying one more time for eligibility, the prime versus non-prime, Cola?
Sure. So prime versus non-prime can be found actually right here on our website. If you go to the pricing table or just payer list, but the pricing table, if you scroll down, these are hyperlinks. You could just click here. I'm going to click on the 2 cent. It's going to take me out to all of our prime payers. And you'll notice that, like, if I click on more info, if I'm looking at a payer, so if you're searching a payer and you want to know if they're prime or non-prime, it's going to say prime right here next to eligibility. And this payer list is searchable from our website.
Perfect. That is awesome. All right. I lied. One more question, because this is a really good one. We have someone that has a biller set up right now with a few portals. I think they're billing through a few different sites. So they're wondering what kind of support will they have if they want to switch to Claim.MD?
Sure. So our support is the same no matter what. We don't know, the difference. So our support is live. We are in the States. We're available Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. Our turnaround time is about 13 minutes to getting back to you on a support ticket. And you're going to get the same support as anyone else would. Just give us a call, open a ticket. We're happy to help.
Awesome. All right. I think we can answer the rest of those questions in the chat. And I'm going to take over to show the Jane side of things. So once you're all set up with Claim.MD, how you can integrate. And that was great, Cole. Thank you. Okay, my turn to share screen. And this will be the last screen share transition of the webinar, I promise. Okay, everyone else did it, so you can see my screen. Great, perfect. Okay, so I'm in Jane right now. If you have a Jane account, you can follow along if you like, but again, this recording will be sent out and I'll go as slow as I can. I'm in the settings area of Jane in the top blue bar, and I've scrolled down to the integrations area. I've clicked on the clearinghouse integration, you'll see that one, and that'll bring you to this page, which describes the integration in a few bullet points. And this is a great summary. So when you integrate Claim.MD with Jane, you can submit claims. You can then view any claim acknowledgements that come back. If you're not familiar with claim acknowledgements, it's basically Claim.MD, the clearinghouse, or the payer letting you know about the status of the claim right after you submit. So if there are things you need to clean up, rejections, you'll get that info, or if claims are going to make it onto the next stage, you'll get that info too. You'll be able to see that in Jane. And then you'll automatically receive insurer remittances as well. ERAs, remittances, 835s, all names for the same thing. So you no longer need to go in your clearinghouse and grab those and then upload those to Jane. So once you have signed up for Claim.MD and you have completed your provider enrollment and you're all ready to go, you'll need to head into Claim.MD, which Cola showed us. And you're going to pop into your settings area, your account settings, and then you're going to want to go to this SFTP settings area. There's a couple of key things that you'll need to grab. First off, you're going to need to set your SFTP to active. At this time, Claim.MD will give you your username, and then you're going to see your password. Make sure you note this down. You'll only see it once. If you need to reset it, that's fine. But just make sure you note it down because you'll need it for the next step. And there's a few settings that you're going to want to set up here as well. I'll come back to these towards the end, but you're going to want to make sure that your claim status format is set to 277. That'll ensure that you get your rejections and claim acknowledgements coming into Jane. And then you're going to want to set this receive ERA to 835. That'll ensure that Claim.MD will automatically send all insurer remittances, EOBs, 835s to Jane. All right, once you have your SFTP username and password, you can head back over to Jane and press this connect button. This is where you're going to use your SFTP credentials. And quick note, these are different than the credentials that you use to log into Claim.MD. So it's just the ones that you found in that settings area that I just showed. So you're going to copy that username in there, and you're going to copy that password that you noted down when you turned on SFTP. Click that connect button. And now your Jane account will be all ready to go. So this means that you can start billing through Jane. I'm going to start off the demo of actually billing through Jane with submitting claims. I'm going to do that by popping into the billing tab in the top blue bar and scrolling down to my claim submission folders. In Jane, we have a bunch of folders that will let you know where your claims are at in the billing process. So all the claims that you need to bill will be in the draft or unsubmitted folders. I'm going to start with the unsubmitted folder. And here you can select all the claims that you'd like to bill, the ones that are ready to go. You can select one claim, a couple of claims, all the ones that show up by default, which is 25 in Jane. But for simplicity, I'm just going to select a couple for this demo. Once you've selected the claims that you'd like to submit, there's a blue button that will always be at the bottom of your screen. Click that, and Jane will pull up a preview of what you're about to submit. So you'll be able to see all the important information about these claims. At a high level, you can glance through just to make sure everything's entered correctly. If there's any information missing, like maybe you forgot to enter the diagnosis codes or something like that, Jane will let you know, and you'll make those changes before you submit. Both of these ones look great. They're ready to go. So when I'm ready, I can click this Submit 2 Claims to Claim.MD button. And then we are good to go. If you've been using Jane for a while, this experience will feel almost exactly the same. The only difference is now there's nothing else that you need to do because Jane's going to send the files to Claim.MD. Before you'd have to download a file and upload it to Claim.MD. But as you can see, claims have been successfully queued for submission and will be displayed with your Claim.MD account within 10 minutes. So you should be able to go to Claim.MD, which I'm going to do in a little bit, and see those claims if you'd like. All right, you can also see that these claims have been moved to the submitted folder. So they were in unsubmitted. Now they moved to submitted since I have created a submission. Those claims will stay there until claim acknowledgements are received from Claim.MD. So the first acknowledgements that you're going to get are from Claim.MD, and Claim.MD is going to let you know if the claims are looking good, that it didn't catch anything that was looking off, or they're going to let you know if they did catch something that would result in a rejection, and they're going to reject the claim. If everything's looking good, Claim.MD doesn't catch anything, those claims are going to stay in the submitted folder. If Claim.MD does flag something, they're going to move those claims to the rejected folder. So all the claims that automatically get moved to your rejected folder, they need your attention. There's something that you need to fix and you need to resubmit in order to get those through. These rejections can be from Claim.MD if they spot something that would have resulted in a payer rejection, so kind of catching it before it happens, or these can be rejections by the payer. And to figure out who rejected it, why, and when, you can look at the claim summary panel. That you can do by just clicking this view button beside any claim. So if we take a look at one of the claims here, this claim summary panel kind of gives you all the info you need to know about a claim, the patient, the date of service, the codes, and then we can see this timeline of events. So we'll be able to see all the claim submissions that I made and then any acknowledgements that have come back. So you can see that I submitted this on the 24th and we received a rejection from Claim.MD shortly after. I can click to learn more. So this is the meat of it. This is why the claim was rejected. So I'm working with some demo data in the demo site. So Claim.MD was smart enough to realize that, hey, this is not a real Medicare policy number. You're going to need to fix that up in order to submit the claim. And they also recognize that I forgot to put the initial treatment date in the insurance policy. So to fix this up, what I need to do is I would need to fix up these mistakes or rejection reasons in Jane. And once I do that, I can resubmit the claim. So in this case, both of these things are done in the insurance policy in Jane. It's really easy to get there from the claim summary panel. So if I had a real Medicare number, I would find that, I would put that in here. And then I would also add an initial treatment date, which I can do within the policy. And once I'm good, I made my changes, I can save it. That's great. And when I'm ready to go, I can view my previous submissions and I can resubmit the claim from here. So in Jane, you can only submit claims that are marked as unsubmitted or draft. This is in rejected. So I can tell Jane that I'm ready to resubmit the claim by marking it as unsubmitted. Perfect. And I can simply just submit the claim again. Great. It's going to be sent to Claim.MD shortly. One quick note before I move on from rejections. So this was a case where the claim was rejected by Claim.MD. If this was rejected by the insurance company, very similar process. It would be in the rejected folder. We'd see what the reasons are and we'd be able to fix that up. All right, so we've gone through the claim submission process. We've gone through what happens after you submit a claim. We have the submitted folder for everything that's looking good. And then we have the rejected folder for anything that has been rejected by a Claim.MD or the payer. And the next step in the process for claims that have made it through is ERAs. Under this claim responses area, we have this remittances folder. This is where all of your ERAs, your electronic remittances, will be sent from Claim.MD, and that happens automatically. There's something that you need to do in Claim.MD to figure that, only the setup. So this 5 means that there are 5 ERAs in my work list, 5 that I need to work through and post the payments for. And when I have some time, I can pop in here and post the payments. So I can start that process by clicking this view button. Jane will pull the information from the remittance to queue up a payment. All you need to do is click the record button. And you'll then need to review what the insurance company paid or didn't pay for each of the claims. In this case, the insurance company responded to 2 claims in this remittance. Click the view button for the first claim. This screen, this is kind of Jane's version of the EOB for this particular claim. It'll give you all the information for what they pay, what they didn't pay, what the patient needs to pay. If everything's looking good, you can simply just scroll down to the bottom and apply the changes. I'm going to scroll back up for a second here. All the information that was in here, Jane will automatically put in this EOB screen. When you apply the changes, Jane will apply the insurer payment to the insurer invoice in Jane. Jane will change the patient invoice if needed and charge the patient or set the charges so that you can collect from them. If you collected the patient responsibility, then you're good to go. And I would do the same thing for this next one. I'm just going to whiz through the process here because I just showed you. Everything looks good. I'm going to apply the changes. So I reviewed my 2 responses for these 2 claims. And now I'm done with this ERA. If I pop back into my remittances folder, you'll see my work list has gone down from 5 to 4. All right, so that is the integration in a nutshell. We went through setting up the integration, submitting claims, what happens after you submit, and then what happens when you get ERAs. One thing I forgot to mention, whenever you get an ERA loaded into Jane, Jane's going to look at the ERA and find the claims in your account that were referenced in the ERA and automatically link them. You'll know if a claim has received an ERA by this response received folder. So all the claims in here will move from submitted to response received when a new ERA has come in that's associated with the claim. All right, at this point, we're going to jump back into Claim.MD to end the demo, and we're going to take a look at our managed claims area. So if we want to just double check that, hey, did the claims go through? We could take a look here. Claim.MD has a nice area where you can see kind of all the claim action that's going on in Jane. So we can see we had some claims that were submitted today. Perfect. So we can see that we've had some rejection reasons. But again, all of this information will come back to Jane. So you can really manage and see everything without leaving Jane. All right, and that is the end of the demo. I have not been looking at the Q&A, so I'm going to take a quick peek to see what questions we have. All right, okay, so we have a question about when an ERA or remittance is received, if it's a client prepay scenario, so with your courtesy billing, will Jane recognize that? So great question. It does depend how you're setting up and managing courtesy billing in Jane, because your claims are going to be treated the same. If you get an ERA where the insurance company ends up paying you instead of the patient, Jane will still apply that that ERA to the claims, and you'll have to review that and then decide what you're going to do with the money. So it really works the same way for courtesy billing, or if you're billing to get paid by the insurance company. Oh, a good question here. Once you get an ERA, where is the payment? If we get a check. So in this remittances folder, this represents the ERAs, but the first step of recording ERAs in Jane is actually recording the insurer payment. So I'm actually creating the insurer payment here. We have this area called insurer invoices. So say if I wanted to see all of my actual payments from Aetna, we have a tab where you can see all that information, and you'll be able to see all of the insurer invoices that that payment's been applied to. In this particular example, this is the one that that I just worked through, applying it to 2 invoices. So we have a separate section for that. All right, and let's see. Michelle, was there anything else in the chat that I might have missed that would be good to call out?
Not that I can see. I think we've managed to work through most of them. Just taking a little look. I think.
Oh, we have a good question that just came in the Q&A from Jody. So Jody asks, will the claim status be updated in Jane with updates of the claim accepted by payer? Or where would that be? That is a great question. So you'll be able to see all of that information within the claim summary panel. So because this is the demo site, I don't think I'll have an example of acknowledgements from payers that say accepted for adjudication. Here's an example where I can see that Claim.MD has received the submission. But if when the payer sends you a claim acknowledgement, they've accepted it for adjudication, you'll see it within this timeline and it will show in green, but it'll still stay in the submitted folder. It'll only move to the response received folder once you've received an ERA. Oh, okay, good question. We have a question from Grace about modifiers. So what about modifiers? Are those added in Claim.MD? Are they added in Jane? So that's a great question. So Jane has an option to set up default modifiers. So when you set up your billing codes in settings, which I'll just pop in and show you real quick, you have the option of setting up some default modifiers if you'd like. So you can set up default modifiers for each of your insurance companies, for each of your CPT codes. Those will automatically get applied to your claims. If your modifier requirements are a little bit more complicated, you can add those directly to the appointment. And then Claim.MD does have some checks too. When you submit the claim, if they recognize that the modifiers that you've added will end up in a rejection, or there's something that's missing, there are some rejections, but we'll come back for that.
Hey, John.
Hey.
Good one in the chat that says, so can multiple accounts be active under one tax ID and all be included under the one subscription? Do you want to chat a bit about Claim.MD accounts and Jane accounts?
Sure. Okay. That's a great question. So for integrating Claim.MD accounts with Jane, it's one account per integration. So if you have one Claim.MD account and there's one Jane account, you can integrate them both. If you happen to have, say, 2 or 3 Jane accounts that are all using the same Claim.MD account, you won't be able to integrate in that case because all of the data will be going through. That means that ERAs from that are meant for all 3 of those Jane accounts would be going into all 3 instead of just the ones that they are meant for. But that being said, if we're talking about the tax ID and kind of the subscription cost with Claim.MD, so Claim.MD bills by tax ID. So you can have as many rendering providers, so as many rendering provider NPIs all billing under the same organization or tax ID, and that would actually be kind of included on the limited plan. You would pay for additional tax ID, but if you're under the same organization, then that's great. All right. Oh, okay. There's a question about billing secondary claims. So someone's asking how that works in Jane. So in Jane, you could bill primary claims and secondary claims. It's the exact same workflow that I showed, just secondary payers need a little bit more information. They need to know what the primary paid. If you're getting ERAs from the primary payer, Jane will actually queue up all the information that the secondary needs. And let's see if I can show you. So this information, it won't be queued up in this example, but you'll see, oh, actually, I got lucky. I found an example where there was an ERA, and you can see in this case, there was an ERA from the primary. I'm looking at the secondary claim here. And Jane pulled the information from the primary. So all of the adjustment reasons, what the payment was, and to build a secondary claim, I just need to click that button at the bottom of my screen. And then of course, if you're the primary payer like Medicare, if they're forwarding claims, Jane actually has a setting where we'll automatically move those secondary claims to submitted when the primary is submitted, because the primary is going to do the work for you. All right, scouring the questions. Okay, I have a question about insurer payments. How are actual payments received? So yeah, if you're receiving insurer checks, so that workflow, that would be outside of Jane. So however you're depositing those, or if you set up EFT, so you can record the payments in Jane. So for bookkeeping purposes, making sure that we're applying those payments to the correct invoices in Jane. but the actual depositing of that information, that would take place outside of Jane. All right. Yes, and then back to secondary claims, there is a question about how does that work, Jane? How do we set that up? I'm going to pop over to the schedule. I'm going to show you all the screens in this demo. Let's say that this patient here who we're working with, Vernon, if they had a primary and a secondary claim, I would simply add both. So they don't actually have a secondary claim in this case, but if they did, I would add that information to Jane. Jane also has the option of, before your patients come in, they could share their insurance details with you beforehand. But I can add that myself here, and I'd have both the primary and the secondary policy added to the appointment before I start billing. All right. Oh, we have another question about the 10% discount that Cole mentioned. So it's not like a limited time thing. There's no like you're going to miss it if you don't sign up today or next week. So yeah, the plan is 10% off for Jane customers going forward. All right, I'm going to do one quick scan, but I know that we're getting a little bit short on time, and I think we can answer the rest of stuff in the chat. I'll start to pop in there, and I'm going to pass it back over to Michelle, who's going to talk a little bit about how the beta went, because we had a really long beta, and Michelle's going to tell us all about it. All right, over to you, Michelle.
You're right. So yeah, we'll just give you a little bit of an overview of what our beta users experience was like and some of the feedback they gave us. So you just want to hop to the next slide, John.
Yes, I click the button. Let's see if it responds. Okay, there we go.
So our integrated claims beta started back in December of 2022. So this has been going on for quite a while now. We wanted to make sure that we had lots of data running through it, that we were testing everything really thoroughly so that when we released it for all of you, you were all going to have a good experience and get paid. So from December to May, it was just the ERA integration. And our beta group grew from our one very brave first participant to 269 people. And that went really smoothly. So then in May, we started with the full integration, and that grew from 269 people to 393 people. And then July, we've released it for all of you. So before we did that, we did a feedback survey with those 393 beta participants. And here's some of the things that they had to say. So when talking about switching to Claim.MD, we had 66% of our respondents say that they signed up for Claim.MD specifically to use the integration. Of those, 93% rated their experience getting started a 4 or a 5 out of 5. So that was awesome to hear. Thank you, Claim.MD friends. And for all of them, it took an average of about 3 weeks to get fully onboarded and enrolled with all of their payers after signing up. The next thing we were curious about was how much time they were saving by switching to the integration. So 80% of people said that they were spending less time submitting claims and posting ERA payments. And on average, they said they were saving over 90 minutes a week on their billing, which was really, really good to hear. And that was actually before we made the integration a lot faster. It used to take about an hour for claims to go from Jane to Claim.MD, and now it's less than 10 minutes. So we think those numbers would probably be better if we asked again today. Last but not least, we asked if their billing was feeling more successful to them. And people had things to say like, we're finding fewer billing errors, we have reduced denials, our workflow is more efficient, claims are easier to manage, and that responses from payers were a lot faster and they were getting checks more regularly. So that was also really lovely to hear. All right, and then John's just going to take us on a quick little journey up the road ahead.
Awesome. Thanks, Michelle. And for all those reasons that we heard in the feedback, those are reasons why that we have chosen to integrate with Claim.MD. We've heard pretty much nothing but great things about Claim.MD's support team and how supportive they are in the onboarding experience and kind of the success of submitting claims with Jane and Claim.MD. So I'm going to talk a little about the road ahead and how we're going to improve and add to the integration. So this little graphic here, this is something that we've been working towards for a long time at Jane. So a few years back, we didn't have any insurance features. And we started with just the ability to submit primary claims where you would download a file from Jane and then upload it to your clearinghouse. Between that, we did some things we called refresh insurance workflows, but basically adding a lot of stuff like the ability to record an EOB, be able to tell Jane what the insurance company said for each billing code. After that, we added our ERA management tool. That's what I showed you there. So the tool that makes it a little bit faster and quicker. Those are the same thing, faster and easier to post insurer payments. We then added the ability to submit secondary claims, which I briefly touched on, and then now we have integration with Claim.MD. So what's next? So we've been really liking how things have been going and the feedback we've been hearing from our customers about the integration and Claim.MD's team. So we want to go deeper with that integration. The first thing that we're going to be focused on is addressing integrated claims feedback. So we did a long beta period where we heard from our customers using the integration early. But now that it's available to everyone, we want to continue hearing what you think, hearing how we can improve it. We just made things a little bit faster, as Michelle mentioned. So claims would go to Claim.MD within 10 minutes instead of within a couple hours, which was the experience during beta. And we've added some smaller things, like we had some providers in some states that bill Medicaid that need to send a little bit more information that we didn't support in Jane. And we just added that this week. So we want to keep hearing about how your experience is going. We want to make sure that everyone's getting paid for their claims and that we can support all the workflows out there. So that's what we'll be focused on for the next little bit. And the next big feature that we'll be adding, which I think this was a question that was asked earlier, and something that Cola showed in her demo, we want to add eligibility checks through Claim.MD. So the ability to make an electronic eligibility check through Claim.MD in Jane with the integration. So then you could have all of your clients' benefit information stored in Jane to help you understand what you should maybe charge the patient at the time of service and when their benefits might be used up for the year. So that's the next big thing that we'll be working on adding to the integration. All right, and that is all that we have today. There's been lots of questions, so I'm just going to throw a quick note out there. If there are questions that you had that didn't get answered in this webinar, or maybe specific questions about your billing workflows that you're curious about, you could reach out to our support team. We'd be happy to answer those. If you have questions for the Claim.MD team, I'm sure that they would be happy as well. And we also have this QR code that you can scan to learn more. So I'll just leave this up for a second. If you want to pull out your phones, grab that QR code, and that should lead you to some resources. All right, with that, I'm going to do one more check in the Q&A just to see if there's any last questions, if I could find where the QA went on my screen. All right. Oh, we asked for a timeline for eligibility. So great question, Dan. At this point, we're not exactly sure. We just finished up with integrated claims, so we're just starting up with eligibility. But if you were a part of our beta with integrated claims, what we did is we had an open beta, an app you could kind of see in that settings, clearinghouse integrations, what was coming soon. We're going to do something similar. So if you check out that area, you'll see some information about when it's coming soon. And we'll be sure to keep people updated in our feature request area in Jane. So when we have more info, we'll be sure to let you know. All right. And yeah, I think all the other questions, we'll note those down. And if you have questions for our team, please reach out. We'd be happy to answer those. But I think with that, Michelle and Cole, I think we are good to wrap.
Yeah, for sure. We'll send out a follow-up email with lots of answers to any questions we missed here. We'll take a look through the chat and everything. But yeah, thanks so much for joining us, everyone. It was really lovely getting to chat with you all for 45 minutes or so.
Yes, thank you. Thank you guys so much. If you need to have a one-on-one with Claim.MD, just go out to our website and schedule a demo. We'll be happy to work with you one-on-one if you have additional questions or, specific needs. We can help answer those questions. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Talk to you later. Bye.